So I'm 7 and my sister's 3, and we're splashing water around one of those garden hose-filled plastic kiddie pools. Our mother gets up from the lawn chair and knights me with a declaration of authority every oldest kid in the family waits to hear. Stephen, you're in charge. Go watch over your sister. This 7-year-old is now in charge. As I peer over the vast 8-acre kingdom I just inherited, part of my brain notices my sister in the pool. She's trying to get out. In slow motion, chariots of fire playing in the background. Her foot catches the edge, and she falls to the ground. Her poor little innocent knee scrapes the pavement. She lets out a cry, henceforth known as the shriek heard around the neighborhood, letting the world know that I, and my first assigned mission as big brother, failed. My mother runs out to console my crying sister, but all her attempts to calm her to no avail. For 15 minutes, my mother stares at me, intensify. But then, a profound idea pops into my brain, an idea with the potential to redeem this tragic tale. I run into the house, ravage the medicine cabinet, and return in a flash, presenting my hysterical sister and fear-muddied mother my proposed solution. A Band-Aid. A pastel pink and royal blue Band-Aid, clinically proven in randomized, double-blinded, placebo-controlled trials, 100% effective at igniting my kid sister into giggles of pride and joy. And as I present this Band-Aid, the mere sight of this Band-Aid, instantly the downpouring of tears stops. See, I wish all my patients were that easy to heal. See, I'm an emergency medicine physician, and all too often we've made the mistake of thinking the more complex something is, the more valuable it is. See, with all the science and technology in modern medicine, most of us have this sense something's not quite right. A 90-year-old asked me about it the other day. She said, "Why do people seem to be getting sick so much more than they used to?" Well, besides we're living longer, 2 reasons: food and fear. Perhaps you've heard the famous words of Hippocrates, the father of medicine. He said, "Let food be thy medicine." Now, he wasn't talking about Diet Coke, but seriously, do you know what he said just before that? He said, "Everyone has a doctor within. We just need a help in its work." The natural healing force within each one of us is the greatest force in getting well. Now, fear, and some of you achievers, I know you're out there, prefer to call it stress. Both fear and stress devastate the body's natural healing systems. But how? Well, first let's fact check my 90-year-old's question. Are people really getting sicker? Well, when it comes to dying of infections, over the last century, despite what it may seem, we're actually doing exponentially better. Today it's debilitating heart disease, cancer, stroke, lung disease. And we're seeing increasing numbers in the ER of what I'll call inflammation syndromes. And we're all familiar with them. The headaches, the belly aches, the breathing and joint itises, things people go to the doctor and hospital for, but don't usually end up in the hospital for. Things like headache, up 240% the last 6 decades. Arthritis, exploding the last 5 decades. And childhood asthma still hasn't fully recovered. And you know the number one reason people come to the ER? It's abdominal pain. Up to 45 million Americans suffer from something called irritable bowel syndrome. So what's going on here? Is this a critical shortage of inhalers or pills? See, it's easy to wade in the swamp of complex analysis. But a simpler insight slapped me awake when I met this gentleman. So you meet Jerry, a grandpa-like 86-year-old, came to the ER because he just wasn't feeling right. When he checked in, his blood pressure was 220/110, like crazy high. So we did a battery of tests. We made sure he wasn't going to have a heart attack or a stroke or anything else dangerous. All the labs, heart monitoring, even a head scan, everything came back normal. So I sat down with Jerry to reassure him, and eventually I asked him this key question after we connected. I said, "Sir, how much news have you been watching lately?" "Oh, I'm real good about that. See, I'm not sleeping, Doc, so my grandson, he set up the U-View on my phone, and, well, I stay up getting the updates there, and eventually I'll get up and get the morning news with my coffee, and lunchtime news, and I never miss a press conference from the governor, and the evening news, and, well, it's just so horrible, Doc, everything happening in the world these days." My heart sank. This man told me he'd been watching 10 to 12 hours of news every day. So I gave him the prescription he needed. no more than 1 hour of news per day. See, why is this so important? The media can be like a seductive con artist stealing our brain's attention. And do you think positive or negative headlines are more effective? Yeah, negative by 3 times. It's called negativity bias, and our brains come pre-programmed for it. This instinctive fixation with what's wrong was designed to keep us safe from saber-toothed tigers or poisonous berries around the corner of the cave. The problem is these are not real threats anymore. Information, even perceptions, are growing threats to our health. But how? See, our thoughts can make us sick, especially those unconscious thoughts, the ones we don't even realize we're running. So as Jerry's hypnotizing himself with 12 hours of danger, Will Robinson, the murder hornets are coming, see, those thoughts activate a specific pattern of chemistry, hormones, and nerves in the physical body. For Jerry, part of that pattern, the tip of the iceberg that we could measure, was his high blood pressure. And 10 years ago, all Jerry would have gotten from me was a prescription for a pill. And people like Jerry, people like you and me, friends and family, would have stayed in the cycle of diagnose, treat, and then repeat. I got so frustrated with not knowing how to help people get off that merry-go-round, I get real curious and start searching for better solutions. So that led me to business school, where I was introduced to the power of coaching. Eventually diving into topics like behavioral economics and public health at Hopkins, I start seeing the many other forces creating health and healing. So I became a coach myself to help other doctors and professionals. Soon I started cross-pollinating these skills of coaching into conversations with patients. And the results are profound. The qualities of a caring, connected, effective coach also help patients create lasting health and vitality. And here's the real beauty. Anyone can learn and start benefiting from these simple tools. See, it's called mindset training, and it has profound implications for our health, especially those chronic inflammation syndromes. So in positive psychology, we know that training the brain to be genuinely happier results in improved performance, energy, creativity, business outcomes. And now we know that it's contagious. So many of these proven practices that we use in coaching, because they reprogram that default negativity bias in the brain. Things like daily gratitude journaling, random acts of kindness, box breathing, light exercise. We've all at least heard about the transformational effects of meditation. See, for the last 2 decades at least, we've known how relationships and positive mindset are associated with living longer. And now we know how mindset measurably interacts with the physical body, affecting our immune system, blood pressure, sleep, both quality and duration, our metabolism, which is indirectly related to weight, and something called HRV, which is like a gauge of our nervous system's repair and balance. And now we have evidence that a mindful mindset links into these things called telomeres. These are like little hourglasses at the ends of our DNA. Now, all these result in a reinforcing feedback loop as a positive and healthier physical body affects our mindset. Remember Jerry? Well, for 2 weeks after we connected, his blood pressure was under 130/84. Every one. See, the wise healer within us helps us learn how to redirect this brain from working against us. Welcome to the wise doctor within each one of us. I even witnessed it in a 5-year-old girl when her parents brought her to the ER. She'd been having doubled over bouts of abdominal pain, and well, these have been going on for 3 years, every few nights. They'd already seen top doctors. They had every test, but here they were in the ER, still frustrated, still scared. Know anyone like this in a similar pattern? So they already had everything done. Like, what could we do? You know, when I need to look in a child's ear, instead of asking, can I look in your ear, which almost always results in no, instead I kind of ease in, and instead I go, hey, which ear do you want me to tickle first? Works a little better, right? So we did the same thing here. I connected first and used questions, just like in coaching, to help this girl get her mind off her body, physically, and towards pretty much anything else. So we talked about her sister and school and her new friend, and I taught her the simple skill of box breathing. And this isn't some Jedi mind trick. Within minutes, all of us can see it and feel it. Her breathing getting deeper, her speech picking up, her eyes gazing higher, experiencing for herself how we get to be more in control, consciously. Oh, and then she starts telling me how she's going to do this box breathing. If those pains even start to come back, she's just going to do it on her own. She's not even going to wait to be told. And I look over and see her mom. She's in tears. She knew something magical just shifted. And it wasn't just a Band-Aid. We all learned a powerful way to shift your own mindset. And Mom's intuition is right. 3 weeks later, for the first time in 3 years, not a single episode. See, cultural conditioning has made our brains more reactive, not less. We've lived in a society that overvalues complexity and privilege and profits for making things bigger instead of connecting and savoring the simple. As a doctor, I was taught to look for what's wrong, manage it, or avoid it. As coaches, we teach to look for what's right and lead towards that. See, healthy humans, we need both. See, the invisible virus over focusing on what's wrong has premised uncalculated sickness. The good news, we all can learn and train ourselves to realize what's right. While the future of wellness won't abandon the last century of science and innovation, the emerging paradigm towards extraordinary health begins as we explore and develop our mindset. Just as Socrates said, there is no illness of the body apart from the mind. We can now also say there is no enduring wellness without evolving our mindset.